like they just get so predictable.
And so far, that is the case. You've got
look, they banned out Rapid Fire and High Caliber with their first 2 bans. Like, you could split 1-1 with the other team. No one else wants those attachments to make it through.
Very, very true. You see the HC coming off the board. We still have stuns and flashes available as well. Shiva's on the board. I don't know what impact that really makes on this particular map, but you see that come off pretty frequently in Hardpoint. You're going to see Heatwave get attacked at a midway point in the season where people started to see how ridiculously powerful that ability was. Not shocked to see that come off in Hardpoint.
Wouldn't be surprised to see the Purifier go either, but the Shiva's still in play. The flashbangs are still in play. A lot of different things that these guys can still use as we're talking. There goes the flashbangs. That's going to be Aches banging that one out. So Perplexed, he's got one final ban. Let's see what he decides to do here. Maybe he goes after maybe like a lethal grenade, but he's running out of time.
Even something like, I was going to say, camo or a Purifier, something you can get off this map. We've seen a weapon like the Purifier, how good it can be at locking down lab various points on this map.
And now that you bring it up, I think the Purifier is a much better ban than active camo here.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was Uplink, sure. You go after active camo. We've seen how useful and effective that specialist ability is in a mode like Uplink, but specifically here on Breach Hardpoint, the Purifier really one of the better specialist weapons you could use here.
Well, interestingly enough, you see the all right. So Tempest Scythe come off the rip right away. Is it potentially going to be 3 weapons here? Or are they not going to use a? Not going to use.
Well, I mean, yeah.
There's a Purifier. Okay, so 3 weapons. That makes sense, and maybe on the other side as well. I was surprised to see Tempest Scythe right away because I wasn't even looking at who was really selecting, more just what's coming through. I thought 3 weapons as soon as I saw those 2.
Yeah, as soon as Heatwave and Camo go, those are some of the more useful specialist abilities, and it's going to be the Annihilator from Perplex. So once again, we have that dynamic between the Tempest and the Annihilator.
Certainly.
Personally, I've leaned more towards the Tempest as of late. How are you feeling about the 2?
Personal preference. I think they're both great.
Think so?
I think I've seen players maybe a little better mobility-wise with the Annihilator at times. The Tempest is going to be a little better, maybe locking down a doorway or someone pushing a specific spot if you're able to chain that together. We haven't really seen that many big plays with the Tempest in North America, but we've seen some crazy ones, some crazy ones in Europe. But for you guys today, we love to hear from you on Twitter. The questions typically will be for you, but now we want to hear your questions. Use the hashtag CWLPS4 at COD World League, at Maven, and at RevanJB. We want to hear your guys' thoughts, what questions you have about the league, about the matchups today. It's going to be an exciting one. It's funny, early in the season you always think like, I want to watch like the top teams, who's the top of the standings. But now, like when you get to those final couple weeks, it's like, oh my God, like all the excitement is now not with the teams that solidified their spot in the finals. It's all those teams that are trying to desperately get in at the last moment.
I mean, just to add on to that point, Uplink plays against FaZe next week. That's obviously a huge match earlier in the league when they were both towards the top of the standings. Now it's like, I'm a little more interested in the teams down at the bottom. Who's going to make it through? Who's going to be in that relegation zone?
I mean, Optic versus FaZe is one of my favorite matchups throughout the course of the season, just because, the giant fan bases, the fact they had the rivalry all through Advanced Warfare. You have so much talent on 2 teams. It's going to be amazing. But at the same time, I'm looking at some of their matchups like, oh God, like that might not even be the best matchup in terms of what's on the line. I mean, there's so much more in some of these others. You're trying to see these teams try to battle their way into Stage 1 finals.
It's going to be exciting. And guys, tickets are on sale for Stage 1 finals as well. You could come down here, hang out at the ESL Burbank studios and hang out, see all the top players, hang out with us for a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna certainly be a fun weekend. I know we're fired up for it. April 1st through 3rd. We have the other 2 though coming up because Matt leaves tonight. I think at like 10 or something like that. He's flying to Australia for their Stage 1 finals this weekend, and then next week I'm going to be heading out to Europe for their Stage 1 finals. So 3 weekends in a row. LAN tournaments for anywhere, it's 150,000 for Australia and New Zealand.
I love me a good LAN.
200,000 for Europe and 250,000 here for North America on the line. It's going to be amazing.
All right, so as we're moving into Breach Hardpoint, I'm going to be looking at that 3rd Hardpoint. It seems like every time a team is just able to rotate early over towards Palace. And, to be honest, going from number 2 to number 3, it's a pretty long rotation. So if you're able to solidify your position early on, you could certainly lock down a lot of time. But let's jump right into the action. The man I'm going to start things off with is going to be none other than Captain Price.
All right, let's see what Aches is able to do here early. He's going to be running Man of War here to kick things off. 3 kills coming in the kill feed for EnVy. They've got early control.
And to be honest, I think a Man of War is a great fit for Aches. It allows him to be a bit more aggressive on the map. He doesn't, have to rely on like a stable position by using something like an M8. But I think the Man of War, perfect in the hands of Aches. As we're moving over to JCap now, he's taking some fire early on. It's CLG. They're able to battle back. They retake the lead here, and ever since EnVy got those first couple of points, CLG have been dominating that kill feed.
Yep, doing a great job. They were down a few early, now trying to battle back. Nice shots there from Felony. And he's a guy I want to watch a bit through this Hardpoint because I think he's going to need to make a big impact. One, because this is a map in which a sub can really dominate, and look at him starting to go off. 5-1, 4 streak, hot start for Felony. Look at him to have a big impact here in the Game 1 Hardpoint.
Yeah, because he's being such a nuisance over near that first Hardpoint, it allows his teammates to move over towards cages. You see Methods here locking down some early position. He's going to be relying on Perplex to get some crucial kills. He's unable to. Now Methods, he's got to worry about both of his doors. He has a teammate coming behind him, but Slasher breaks in. Methods unable to get that kill. No cover coming in from the CLG squad. Allows EnVy to break in, and they currently have control.
Yep, they lost that back control, and that is why they've been able to really kind of flood in and pinch here. Now just trying to battle over. Looks like they spawn kind of mid-map or around lab, so they got a close spawn at least, and now everyone is trying to fight their way back in. CLG has it for the time being. You're seeing JCap lay some shots in. He's going to lose that one eventually to accuracy, but this is a pretty good start right now if you're CLG. You're feeling good. Yeah. You've got a bit of a lead here. You've got to hold on to it. You need a Game 1 win in this series.
I'm actually surprised EnVy are still pushing over towards this Hardpoint. Sure, they do pick up 2 kills, but as they get in, it's 15 seconds, and now that's going to allow CLG the man advantage in rotation here over towards Palace. In that graphic, I was talking a bit about how you could really pay off by getting some early position over here near Palace. Let's see if it works for CLG.
Well, you see Felony again starting to get on a bit of a streak. He's 11-5 with 2 kills. Accuracy trying to hold any angles from top middle. Set up pretty nicely. You mentioned this third Hardpoint. They're looking good right now. Methods loses that player. I think he falls off the map, just barely able to stay alive.
Yeah, it tosses the Semtex, zones out that player along the wall run. He finds 8, turns around, gets the 2-piece on the TP as CLG. They can now build themselves a little bit of a lead, but 2 players spawning pretty far out. You need Perplex and Felony to put on their Nikes, man. They need to run forward.
Trying to get over here and set up. You see a 3 streak for accuracy, 2 right now for Methods. Doing a good job so far, holding on. They've extended this lead out to 30+ right now. Player flying in from the back. They've got the left side to hold as well. Nice shots coming in. You see 3 kills coming on the kill feed here for CLG, and that's Methods able to turn and pick up another one. He had one hell of a Hardpoint 3 there.
Yeah, they got so much time off that Palace Hardpoint, but listen, take a look at the scores right now. You see the slang from CLG really come true here, but take a look at Aches, man. 3-14.
Oh, welcome back.
That's very uncharacteristic.
Welcome back to the Pro League. Struggling mightily here, and that's one where
switch over to the VMP, by the way.
I know it was only 4. I know it was only 4 matches, but what was it? Havoc had like the #2 KD in Hardpoint. I know it's hard when you have such a small sample size, but he certainly made an impact in that one. I think Aches though is going to turn up here, and he needs to. 5-15, not going to get it done. Patrick Price got to step it up a bit here for the squad.
Yeah, JCap doing some dirty work inside the Hardpoint. He pops up towards top glass, looking to cover his teammates. As EnVy, they're currently down by 48 points, looking to at least put a bit of a dent in the deficit they currently face. Good stick from JCap. Finishes off Felony there.
One of the things we haven't talked about too much, we've put a lot of pressure on these teams trying to not go into relegation, try to make it into the top 8, but there's a lot of implications here for the top teams as well, just from a seeding standpoint. Yeah. Exactly. You don't want to be going up against Optic Gaming in the first match. You want to get the best seed you can traveling down here to LA in just a couple of weeks. Now, cycling through, so far, CLG doing one hell of a job, and Felony, we've been talking about, man, he's 17-10 on another 3 streak. I think he's had 3 or 4 3 streaks plus at this point. That helps a lot. He hasn't been able to work towards any sort of kill streaks, though, at this point.
Yep. Perplexed now. He's got his Annihilator ready to pull it out whenever he's ready to do so. CLG still with a pretty good lead as we've moved over to the lab already. He's going to decide to push out this front cut. Spots 2 players over near top AC. He's just going to dip back behind cover, run back to his teammates as they're trying to fend off their position. Perplex falls. It's going to be Methods. He has his Purifier to use, but he doesn't have his out. As EnVy, they're going to be able to contest for control here, and just like that, they retake control, but they're still down by around 50 points.
That would have been good, too. I was cycling through to see how close they were. Aches, since he had that slow start, he was only about 75% of the way to his Purifier.
A lot closer
now. If Methods would have taken, I think he would have been really able to lock that down, but looks like he wants to save that one. So if you're not going to use it here, which I love it on Lab, which Hardpoint do you think it's most beneficial? Maybe holding down Cage? It's second Hardpoint.
It's really good on just about every single Hardpoint here.
That's very true, right?
So I guess whenever he's in a situation where he's there early, he feels the pressure from EnVy and he's kind of forced to bring it out. I mean, even this middle Hardpoint, it can be very good if you got those trophy systems just to block it from any lethals incoming, but great shots from Perplex. He finds one. JCap now forced to bring out the site. As EnVy, they're falling further and further behind in this game. CLG, their slang is super impressive right now.
Well, Methods has the Purifier, I think, inside right now. Yeah. We saw it for a second, so he's got a little bit to hold on. Looks like he wanted to save it for this Hardpoint, and they might be able to hold on to a good 50, 60 points. There's 2 more from Methods.
That's the Tempest as well, burned from Slasher.
Interesting. Well, they're going to pull a full 60 here, I think, on the second rotation here, this first Hardpoint.
You cannot let a team get. I mean, listen. Even if it's not a full 60, it's around 40 points, and you cannot let a team get that many points on this middle hard point. It's just so easy to contest. You just toss an EMP on the outsides. You take out all the trophies inside. Then you flood it with tacticals or lethal grenades after that. There's a lot of different ways you could go about breaking it, but all about the rotation towards the next one. And once again, Envy, they are late on this rotation. You have CLG with the early position inside. Fortunately, they're going to be able to pick up kills in transition here. They might be able to break, but they won't be able to. Felony's just going off.
Holds on, picks up both those players pushing, and like you said, they picked up some kills, so he was kind of the lone man to hold that off inside the hard point, and then he opts to push out the back. His teammates are able to rotate over. I like the choice. Doesn't win the gunfight, but gives Perplex a little bit more safety here. He was able to hold on for 10 seconds or so, but now you see the Semtex is flying in. 2 players at the back door. There's
can't
one.
Even kill him after
Teammates pick up the second, and somehow he survives the frenzy.
All right, Envy, they might be able to set up a split push here, but Slasher falls on the flank, and now the rest of Envy forced to push through the front as they just get cleaned up here by Perplex. I mean, the slang from Envy is pretty much non-existent right now.
But this is one thing that's, I guess, a little bit scary still for CLG, is I think they've been a pretty good hardpoint team throughout Stage 1. They'll steal hardpoints from superior teams pretty frequently. Other game modes. It's whether or not they can actually take the 5-game series, and I think this Game 2 S&D, if they're able to hold on here, is going to be so important.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. I mean, just thinking back to some of their previous series, they've taken a hard point off of Optic Gaming. So this is a team that's very skilled in that game mode. It's just how do they fare in the rest of the series? But Envy, they used to be a very strong hard point team. I'm not sure what's changed in terms of their team dynamic, but they just don't look as good as they did in some of their previous matches.
This one, I think, was just a bit of a slow start. I mean, what was it? Ace was 3 and 14 or something to kick the game off. It's tough to get a W when you get that slow behind me. They didn't get any kill streaks. They didn't give any up really to CLG, but it was just too little too late. The players started to come alive a little bit for Envy, but when you're trailing by 100, it makes it so much more difficult. But they've got time. Yeah. Obviously, to do this with the new hardpoint rules here in Black Ops 3, you are never out of it. And once down by 100 plus, they're now slowly climbing back into things. They've cut the lead to 75 or so. Let's see if they can take control. One really good hard point puts them right back in this.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's always a tough situation to be in when you're forced to get all the scrap time, and then you got to win rotation on the upcoming hard point, because you're always going to be fighting down at least 1 man. So a rough spot for Envy, and only 10 points for CLG to win this game. TP comes up big with a 2-piece. That allows Envy to get some control for the time being. And as you're saying, if they get every single second remaining here, sure, they'll be right back into the game. But CLG's always going to have the upper hand on rotation to the next one.
They certainly do. But like, yeah, it'll be, what, a 15-point game, something like that. It'll be much, much tighter here if they can lock this down. Big break by TP, a part of why they're able to do this. He's holding on still. There's one more. Cap gets one in the back. You can see via X-ray everybody spawning. He's about to get flooded here. What do you do if you're CLG? Do you give this one more challenge, or are you thinking, hey, let's rotate out of here. Let's just win the next battle. Let's win it at the next hard point.
Well, they could still win, like, with 12 seconds remaining. It looks like they are going to give up. Maybe if they were still getting those like back spawns near glass, sure, they would continue to push forward. But now if you're Envy, you might even decide to give up these like final 5 seconds to push forward. That's exactly what's going to happen. TP has that in mind. Now, are there any specialists in play? No, Slasher doesn't have his Tempest, no Purifier, no Scythe. And, you know, this is the thing with using 3 specialist weapons. Even though TP gets streaks, they're not all too useful here on this hard point.
Well, you don't have any on the other side either. So you're going to see no abilities or weapons available for either team, and CLG is going to take it out on the rotation. And that was a valiant effort from Envy, but like you said, when you're trying to battle for that entire hard point, you have to hold on to get as many points as you can. I mean, what's the call? You like it to try to get out with those final 5 points, but, you know, they didn't win the gunfights in rotation to get set up anyway.
I think around, like, those final 10 seconds when you know that the other team cannot win on the remaining time, you just give it up, because now it's all about the next hard point. That's where, you know, your focus on the map should be.
I meant more for the side of Envy. Like, could you, I don't know, maybe give it up a little bit early, but then you're at risk of giving them another 5 points if they stick around. There's no,
but I mean, like,
it's no perfect choice for Envy.
Sure, but it's all about the next hard point. Like, CLG can no longer win on the remaining time, so it's worth just, even if like nobody gets that time, it's worth it for Envy's sake that they have to fight on an even foot in the rotation.
Yeah, it's too risky, I guess, to rotate any earlier, especially when the other team only needs 12 points. But I think by the time TP actually got over there, 2 of his teammates had dropped, and they'd lost the break.
They needed a perfect break for sure.
They really did. CLG, excellent job there holding on. They had, I think, as much as like a 120-point lead, something like that. And you had big games. We saw Methods do an excellent job around the hard point. Felony had a monster game as well. We can take a look at the scoreboard here quick. And, yeah, plus 11 with a minute in the hard point, 6 defense. And look at how few defense they actually had. Not that EnVy had a ton either. But
yeah, they're slaying on the outsides of the hard point.
Exactly. Shows they were doing a good job pushing it out. And you get just a really good all-around team effort there. Perplexed, 2 minutes in the hard point. Excellent stuff from him as well, as we'll take a look at the highlights here from Game 1. CLG EnVy. But this is never I guess, the game type that makes me nervous for CLG. They steal hard points all the time. It's whether or not they can push through the rest of the series here.
And as much as we like to poke fun at DT for struggling in Game 5, CLG have struggled a bit worse than DT. I think CLG are, what, like 0-6 in their Game 5? So,
ooh.
yeah, their search and destroy gameplay.
It was that bad.
Yeah, it's rough on the side of CLG, as JCap got some cool kills with the scythe right there. Perplex going big inside the hard point. This is like, you know, the 120-point lead you're just talking about from CLG. EnVy, they almost made it a match at the very end, but I mean, CLG only needed like 10 more points going into that final hard point. Rough spot for EnVy to be in.
Yeah, it was just a slow start for EnVy. But now S&D has been one of their better game types. I know when they had Havoc filling in for Aches, it was they were taking, what was it? I think they were winning the Game 2 S&Ds. They were just losing all the Game 5 S&Ds was the issue, because they had 2-0 leads, I think, in both their series the week prior. Can they take the Game 2? That's going to be big. If they bring this to 1-1, I think it's looking pretty good here for EnVy to take this if they can tie it up 1-1. If CLG gets the 2-0 lead, I mean, they have to, I kind of feel like. They have to get a 2-0 lead here if you're CLG.
Oh, yeah, for sure, especially since this is a must-win match. If you lose this match, you know, you can't make it out of that relegation zone, so that's always a scary spot to be in.
Well, not only is it a must-win match, but the big thing to look at as well is if it comes down to a tie, which if CLG is going to get in, they are probably getting in on a tiebreaker, which means they need some 3-0s, 3-1s. Like, they have to get that map percentage up as high as they can, and it's hard to shift that number once you've played this many matches, but I mean, you need 3-0s and you need wins. That's what's scary, because even a 3-0 doesn't guarantee that they're in.
Oh yeah,
sorry. Yeah, going 3-0 in the matches doesn't guarantee it. But
like 9-0, it'd be kind of tough. I didn't do the math that far into it, but yeah. I mean, I think everybody can agree that CLG, this is a must-win match for them, of course. And just think of all the pressure that's now on their shoulders. Not only are you playing for a massive organization in CLG, you've had a pretty disappointing Stage 1 so far. You have a chance to maybe end the stage on a high note, but there's a good chance they'll be fighting through relegation, and we've seen some of the damage these challenger teams can do in the likes of Team Liquid, Cloud9, Eclipse, you know, all the success they've had already in the challenge division. Going up against one of those teams, you can't really feel too confident against them.
No, I mean, and that's a strong finish to Stage 1 might help that a little bit. Just have a little bit of confidence going into relegation. I mean, it almost is tough if you win all your matches, if you go 3-0 and then don't get in, it's painful, right? But at least you get a little bit of motivation, a little bit of confidence going into those relegation matches. But let's hop right into the Ban Protect here for Game 2. Search and Destroy on Stronghold. Slasher and Felony going to be up first for either side.
Yeah, and this is where we see the Ban and Protects really start to differ in a game mode like Search and Destroy. But, of course, as soon as I say that, Rapid Fire and High Caliber, they go off the table, the most common bans.
I think this will be more standard because you don't really have a sniper that you need to attack. I feel like most of the time we see the S&D mix up is typically players targeting sniper rifle play. But he still wants to get rid of the thermal. Who do you think that's going at? Because we don't really see that much sniping from the side of EnVy usually.
I mean, just because you ban a thermal sight doesn't mean it's immediately going after the sniper rifles. You can use a thermal sight on something.
Have you ever seen that from EnVy though? Really?
Not from EnVy, but who knows what they've been experimenting with, especially with losing Havoc. You know, their Search and Destroy game is sure to take some sort of a hit. But this has been a pretty good game mode all stage long for EnVy. I'm sure they have something figured out, but also bringing up the point, they've never really had a super strong sniper presence.
No, neither team has. We've got 2 left here.
Overclock.
You still have Shiva in, and you've all specialist.
Smokes
okay. As well. Okay.
That's a good ban because, of course, with no thermal, you have no way to counter those smoke grenades.
Very, very true. So now everything going to be available for these guys as far as abilities go. Should see, certainly, I would think, camo and kinetic armor.
Yeah, of course.
For both teams, Heatwave for both makes
sense as well.
Probably
be kinetic, Heatwave, camo, and Vision Pulse. I think this is one of the best maps for Vision Pulse.
Unless for some reason you want to you know, use Psychosis or something, but I would agree. Vision Pulse makes sense
And
as a
Cap
forward.
does go for Psychosis. We'll see what these other guys decide to pick up. Methods will pick up Overdrive here.
So
okay.
no Vision Pulse then from either. There shouldn't be, at least. Accuracy should be going active camo, and then Kinetic to round things out. Yep.
Okay, that's interesting, because I just think this is one of the more like setup maps for Vision Pulse. Like, you push up below that mansion window, you Vision Pulse, you get great line of sight of anybody that's posted up inside mansion or anybody hiding behind that B bomb site. It can be very useful, and you can get a lot of information from it.
Very, very true. Well, let these guys edit their classes here before we hop into game 2. If you are just tuning in, CLG able to hold on and take game 1. Certainly a must-win for them. Envy, though, so they have the ability to fight back, but they had so many 3-0s and 3-1s to start the season. I can't even think of. They went to, what, game 5 against Optic, I know, early, but they didn't have very many game 5s. Remember when we were looking at the map count compared to some teams, and like Envy, Optic, they were really, really low down there as far as how much effort they had to put in these series. They were 3-0ing everyone. Like, every other match was a 3-0.
Yeah, I think as it stands right now, Envy, they have like 6 3-0s. Optic have 10 3-0s.
Though they've really put some separation, because I think at one point they were both around 6. So that shows the recent struggles for Envy. What are they at? 3 losses in a row now?
Or 3 or 4?
3 or 4. I can't remember how the week prior went, because I know they went 1-1. It might be 4 losses in a row. So they could use one in a big way, because again, seeding matters. They dropped from, what was it, 2nd to 5th or 2nd to 4th last week, and that's a big difference when you're talking about single elimination, especially when you've had like this rise from Elevate. Elevate's on a, I think, 4-0, 5-0 streak.
They're like 4th place right now.
Yeah, they've got a potential really to break into the top 3 here if they keep it up, and it's been really impressive seeing that performance from Elevate. But I'm curious to see if Envy can bounce back, because they've got to just be down on themselves right now, despite the fact that they're certainly going to make it into the Stage 1 finals. Yeah, now going into the Stage 1 finals, what do you think is more important to end the season on a high note, or maybe just to sneak by some struggle, like with some struggling in your last matches? What would you like? Let's say you were a competitor, back to the glory days of Maven. Okay, back to the
Let's
glory
say
days of Maven.
you're on one of the CWL teams, right?
Okay.
Would you rather be like an Elevate and finish the stage strong with a lot of wins, or would you rather be a team that maybe like dominated early on, fell off a little bit, kind of like maybe
Envy
or FaZe?
I think I'd rather be Elevate. I'd rather be on that hot streak. I'd rather have that confidence, that swagger kind of going into the tournament. I think I'd certainly prefer that just from a mentality standpoint. I mean, if you spent the last couple weeks beating all of these teams, it's got to help you a little bit, I think, once you get to LAN.
I think there are pros and cons to both of them.
Yeah, no, I could certainly see that. But with a team, I would say you feel maybe a little less pressure if you snuck in. Like if you were talking about a CLG sneaking in, that's a different story than kind of what you're talking about with Envy. Envy's still going to have so much pressure despite where they finish getting into the top 8.
For sure, as HC makes his way into bottom match with Elcar in hands, but nobody there to trade the kill. TP's getting some pressure put on him. Slasher falls by a grenade, and just like that, CLG, they win the first round despite Envy getting first blood here. A good round from CLG.
And I'm curious what we'll see from the side of Envy on this map. They mixed it up a little bit there, but I know when Matt and I have casted them in the past, they are it seems like they're scared to break the mold sometimes. So basically, if Ake sit at half wall, TP will slowly push up into mid-map, and they'll just wait to attack kind of towards B or towards A, depending on someone being able to get to a first pick. But a lot of times they leave themselves with like 30 seconds to try and get something done because they play it so slow and safe.
That's kind of how Stronghold usually plays out, though.
But they just don't usually mix it up very often at all. Like they don't try anything creative, and sometimes it works out for them. They're not a bad S&D team, but I'm curious what'll happen here if they get shut down on the offensive side of things a few times.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think if you want to be a consistent top team in Search and Destroy, you need to take some calculated risks, from time to time, and just throw the other team off guard with something crazy.
All right, well, Felony able to pick one up. 3-2 advantage right now for CLG. Good start from Accuracy and Perplexed as they're starting to work towards streaks, get closer and closer, potentially getting an HC in hand. JCap's going to be the one kind of looking over B. And now going to be by himself, but I've seen JCap clutch so many 1v2s and 1v3s in his day.
CLG have a really good setup, though. They have, everything covered.
Don't you doubt JCap, because there's one, baby. Oh, if he would have grabbed that player, the second one.
If he one-bursted him, maybe.
That would have been awesome.
But yeah, JCap just doesn't know. He doesn't have the information because he rotated from his side of the map, so he's not expecting the CLG players to be on that side.
Yeah.
And he starts slowly running out of time. Now he's going to take some fire. I mean, now Accuracy's... He's got position over the half wall. We've seen how strong that spot is.
Excellent
and just
job.
like that, JCap falls CLG. And they go up 2-0.
He rotated through bunker as well, right? Basically the route that JCap just came. Not much JCap can do there. That's what's tough when you... we've seen some pretty good retakes and some crazy plays on this B site, but when you don't have a lot of time, very, very difficult just to find all these players with the size of this map. All right, well, 2-0 lead for CLG. They took game 1. A 2-0 advantage would be huge for them right now. Let me check. I'm going to look at accuracy real quick, see how close he is. So he already has his HC. Accuracy 3 off of his Lightning. 3 kills off.
Oh, and peeking right through the middle map. Methods finds first blood onto JCap Aches, trying to return some fire, but he cannot find a kill. Instead, it's accuracy falling early on, so they stop any sort of progression that accuracy had towards some future streaks. As you switch over to TP, he's the guy with the bomb in his hands, walking up towards this B bomb site. He can get this plant off pretty cleanly. Methods, it looks like he's just trying to spot anybody walking towards there, and he does spot one, but Slasher wins that gunfight, felling out, finding one near the middle map, but he gets cleaned up, and just like that, it's all down to Perplexed. He is able to find TP pretty early on, and he finds one more here near the middle map as he takes out Aches, and it's out to a 1v1.
Oh,
fortunately for Envy, Slasher catches him out of position, but almost a 1v3 there from Perplexed.
I like that from Slasher, just having the guts to challenge and line this one up after you saw your 2 teammates get decimated, because you have the advantage there, you have the AR at range, but things, if he wouldn't have got the kill there, Perplex would have got away, got a different angle, things certainly would have got interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Envy, they find their first round win. As you were saying, accuracy has the HC XD, but so does Perplex now. After that round, you're around halfway to overdrive for Methods, almost 3/4 of the way to a heat wave, but now moving into round number 4.
And I'm
Felony,
checking.
no flak jacket on him. He gets first blooded.
Well, I was going to check the other side, and the nice part for Envy, you've got a couple HC cars available, you said, for CLG. Every single player, all 4 using flak.
Okay, that's going to be good for Envy when, let's see if they keep their classes consistent, as Methods will find a kill to bring it back to a 3-on-3. CLG found their way back into the round, but, you know, as you were kind of saying a bit earlier, takes some time for these offensive teams to get their push going. There are a lot of different positions they need to check and make sure that the defending team doesn't have a clear line of sight on the bomb. And accuracy, I know you're confident in your shot, but JCap has so much position to work with there. As Cap connects on the headshot, Envy retake the man advantage.
Well, Perplex is pushing all the way through bunker now. Let's see if he can spot one. He's going to deal with TP on a better position as well. Methods last alive, and he's just got to try and make a play. Doesn't have much time to work with. Cap set up there. He's going to win that one. Not an easy one by any means. Pushing top bedroom. It looks like he's going to wrap all the way around here to bar. And he just has no time. He's got no time to deal with. He might spot one. I don't think that player saw him. He's going to up, so he's going to get a free one. Now, what options does he have here? Does he try to plant and get caught?
He could plant, or he could play for the kill. TP checks the B bomb site.
TP might catch him.
Methods should be able to get away.
Oh, wow. I thought TP was going to go sprint and check A immediately. Worried that the player might be playing for the kill, and now Methods has a chance here to clutch a 1v3.
And just like that, TP does get spotted, has an M8 in his back pocket, also has an EMP. I think Methods just spotted him as well. Spots the shadow. TP, can he win the gunfight? Gonna swap out to the VMP as he rechallenges, but Methods clutches up for CLG.
Wow, that was a stressful gunfight, man. Back and forth, both players getting so tagged up there. Methods incredibly weak, but look at the repeat and challenge there from the RK5. That's some confidence.
Only needs one bullet from that RK5 to finish the kill on the TP.
Yeah, they both were. I mean, probably if TP had hit him the same, they were both so tagged up. A couple bursts really getting into either plaer.
And Aches continuing the struggle. He's 0-4 to start out this search and destroy.
Maybe he didn't pick up a controller for those couple of weeks Havoc was filling in. Trying to get back into rhythm.
Okay, so Envy, they know they need to switch something up. It's going to be Slasher bringing out the sniper rifle. Now, of course, through the X-ray vision, we see that he's pretty close to spotting one player out. I think he may have just gotten a glimpse of him there. But
yeah, if he had thermal on, if it was still in the game, that probably would have been a shot he could hit.
And something that I think Envy's search and destroy game has been missing is the ability for someone to just take out a sniper every now and then.
I'd like to see Slasher doing it, not knowing it may not lead to a round win, but mixing things up for sure. TP going to be the first one to peek in, trying to check that bedroom corner. JCap got a shot into one player, I believe, poking out of bottom mansion, and now they're starting to get forward. They have to. Half the round already has disappeared here. JCap getting tagged up from top mansion. He's going to back up for the time being and eventually going to get taken out.
Yeah, Perplexed with first blood there. Aches trying to trade the kill. I think Slasher will be the one to pick up the bomb. Starts to move forward. He picks up JCap's M8 off the ground, and he will decide to go for this bomb plant. He's taking some heavy fire, though. TP with the grenade. He finds Methods. The bomb carrier now dropped. As TP looking for some more kills, Aches finds one in the midst of all that. And now it's onto a 1v1 TP with
Oh,
he gets heat wave from behind.
wave.
He heat waves back.
Oh my God!
Good job.
Whoa! That shot, dude, right to the dome of TP. I can't believe he connected. I was switching between both players, like trying to see who came out of the heat wave first, who's gonna line it up. And look at this shot when he comes out, just bop right in the brain here on the second one. Snaps on him. That's a bit of a lucky shot, but he hits it.
Just a very quick reaction from TP just to pop his heat wave as soon as he gets heat waved. Very risky play and almost came out on top of that engagement. But CLG, they're looking really good in the series right now.
Poor TP, man. That's back-to-back 1v1s he's found himself in.
Overdrive gets popped here by Methods. He's going to be pushing up right through the middle of the map. Might find the early kill here bottom mansion, and he does. He catches a sprinting TP first blood. Oh! Okay.
Oh, I thought that was
his teammate. I got scared there for a little bit.
I didn't think that was a teammate either. I was like, all right, well, they're going with headbutt warfare. He gets one, but he gets traded back here pretty quickly. 3-on-3, 2 rounds away is CLG from getting the 2-0 advantage. And if they get a win here, I don't know that it yet makes things interesting because, again, they have to win out, but it certainly keeps them in the conversation.
And then you got to wonder, Envy, they need to switch something up. They need to change something in their gameplay. Because they haven't really had too much success with Havoc, and now Ace is back, and they're continuing their struggles. But
well, if you talk about two teams that have fallen off the most in recent weeks, I think you'd say probably Complexity and Envy. And if you talk about two teams that have been on the rise, I'd say LG and probably Elevate have been the two teams that have really been playing very, very strong lately.
I can agree with you there. HCXC gets called out, and you were saying Envy, they were using Flak Jacket before they switch up their class. Slasher takes his off as Methods checks the bomb. He knows JCap isn't on it, and that should result in a round win.
Slasher might have had it on.
You think so? We'll check. I'll check very quickly, but this is a round win for CLG. Felony cleans up the round by taking out JCap.
He might have been tagged up. I'm pretty sure I got to his class right before it kind of, doesn't allow me to look at it too because he dropped. And I think
every time someone dies by an HC, I really just assume there's no Flak.
I think he had perk 1 Greed on, and he had Flak and Afterburner for the VMP class.
I'm gonna try to get there.
But sometimes when they're dead, it shows. It hops to another player.
I'll try to be quick about it. You ready, Slasher? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the class I saw as soon as he dropped. So that he might have been a little bit tagged up, or just might have been a perfect HC there. All right, well here we go. 1 round away. CLG.
I'm sorry for ever doubting you, Slasher.
Yeah, I know, that's the first thing I checked when I saw he dropped. And Slasher, now we're doubting you because that.
TP, he had a grenade cooking in his hands. Why not just follow up the grenade instead of having the grenade follow you up?
Yeah, very, very true. 2 drop, 3 drop. Aches by himself, 1-on-4, and this is a game Aches wants to forget. But maybe he can make the stats look a little bit better if he can pick up a couple kills. Got 2 on now. He's in a 1 versus 3 now.
Yeah, he gets cornered in. He's dead. He is
going to get caught in CLG. They at one point had a 120 or so point lead in game 1. They take this one 6-1, 2-0 advantage. And I'm trying to think just historically, and by historically I mean here in stage 1. CLG, I think it was them where I casted match. They had a 2-0 lead on H2K. This is like week 3 or something.
So this is a recurring thing with CLG.
H2K brought a reverse sweep on them. I think it's happened to them twice. Now these are stats that I make up from time to time, but I know I casted it once. I'm not sure.
I know I casted 1 against Optic Gaming. They would go up 2-0 against Optic Gaming, and then they get reverse sweeps.
There's at least 2 times that's happened to CLG. Cannot happen here. You need the win. You have to win here, and it's all going to come down to this uplink. I feel like if they close it out here, they have to close out here. Is the point. Like they have to close out here. If this goes the distance, the longer this series goes on, the more I'm concerned that Envy's just going to turn it on. And I'm waiting for that, but then again, the way Envy's been playing lately,
they've been playing very flat.
They have, and that's what happens. But we don't know what the internal battle was. We heard that they were using Havoc for some matches to use at stage 1.
We know you could listen to their streams or their team stream. I'm sure you could pick up on some of the issues between the dialogue between players.
Yeah, so you got to think there's some internal battle going on there with this roster, and hopefully they can turn it around because they've only got a couple weeks here before we get to the finals. Methods. Big game from the captain, goes 10-4, balanced effort from the rest of the squad, and then no one really showing up for Envy. I mean, tough.
Everybody around the same area aside from Aches.
When you get 6-1, difficult to do, but we'll take a look at here at some highlights from game 2 before we get ready here to hop into the Bamber Tech for the uplink.
Yeah, that was the JCap almost 1v3. This is the Perplexed almost 1v3. Methods finding some kills on the JCap. But yeah, the next map is going to be Fringe Uplink. This is the crazy heat wave play. TP almost had that.
Could you pass me a pen? I'm going to take some notes for some top plays today. What was it, Methods that had the 1v3? Yeah. Right? Methods 1v3. Over that, I'm jotting down notes.
Remember to jot down any fails too.
Did they? Yeah, I didn't do that. Did they switch sides?
No.
Okay. Yeah, fails. Got to keep an eye on those, and also some of the big plays here as we have our Sony top 5 every week. I love, man, the last week's was crazy with the
Nagafen's 1v4.
Sharp's crazy play with the heat wave and the CTF.
Both top plays we covered in the Theater Rewind too.
Yeah, no, there were a lot of insane plays throughout that one. I think players getting ready in just a moment here to start it off. It's going to be Fringe Uplink for Game 3, and just to let you guys know at home where we'll be headed with this. It's CTF, evac. Yes, I started to say CTF evac, and S&D Hunted will be the final map. So, well, if you have S&D Hunted, that's a good sign for Rise if you go to Game 5. I feel like I've casted them winning.
That is actually the map that CLG lost to Optic when they got reverse sweeped.
Uh-oh.
Listen, they went up like 5-1.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Don't foreshadow the events of this series.
I'm just saying, it's happened before.
CLG's closing it out here. They're hungry. They're passionate. They have to get wins. Unfortunately, these wins do not guarantee their spot in Stage 1. That's the scary part.
They have to win out, and they need some losses from some other teams. But we're entering the Ban and Protects here for Game 3. It's CLG up 2-0 over Team EnVyUs. High Caliber off the table, along with Overclock, along with Overdrive, along with Rapid Fire. So these are things that are commonly banned out in Uplink. I expect to see Camo maybe follow this up, as well as the Tacticals.
Maybe Kinetic could come off too. We see a lot of times where we see 3 abilities actually get hit in this particular game mode. Concussion's likely going to be coming off. You think Shiva makes sense here? I don't think either team's really that worried about the Shiva in this matchup.
Maybe. Well, I definitely think that Shiva, you discuss it internally if you want to ban it, and it'll be up to CLG to get that off the table.
Kinetic or Shiva, I think, here, finally.
We'll see what he decides to do. He's got a lot of time to discuss it with this team. It's going to be the HCs.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think that's something we really kind of predicted, but at least you don't really got to worry about Flak Jacket now.
I'm not that terrified of HCs in Uplink in particular, but let's see if it ends up maybe having any kind of impact on this game. First 2 players, your sub guy is going to be going with kinetic armor.
Of course.
That's really the lone, I guess, ability that's going to kind of guarantee at least getting a toss off, maybe getting a dunk in. So a lot of pressure on those guys to wisely use those. Tempest Scythe, they're going to be the weapon. Are we going to have 2 and 2?
Yeah, I think Slasher definitely goes with a weapon here. But that's interesting, because I would have figured that maybe TP would pick up Heat Wave and Inks with kinetic armor. That they give it kinetic to TP.
Interesting. Well, I mean, TP a lot of times is going to be your drone carrier, more often than not. So I like the kinetic armor there. Try to fire through a dunk maybe if they're coming off a spawn. We'll see if he is able to use it wisely. But for this Uplink, God, I want to ask you who you favor going into this, but it's sort of tough just looking at the standings not to favor Envy in every matchup. But so far, they're down 2-0.
I thought this series would be the complete opposite of what we've seen so far. I thought Envy would be the ones out to a 2-0 lead, but clearly some of their gameplay struggles continue. And CLG, like, if they would have played like this throughout any of their other matches throughout the entire stage, I feel like they'd be a team out of the relegation zone.
Very true. And speaking of relegation, we're talking a lot about the finals. April 1st through 3rd, they're coming up here in Burbank. Tickets on sale right now to come to the event. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for it. Love having all the players out here. I haven't seen them here in Burbank since the qualifier, which for me, you know, from a casting standpoint, production, having all the guys, that was one of the more fun events I've had in quite some time. So really looking forward to hanging out with everyone again. And we're right around the corner. And what's kind of cool about it too, we're probably going to have a lot of players we can work with, get in the commentary booth, maybe get analysis, because you got to think about it. You have relegation Friday, Saturday and Sunday are the main event. You're going to have 4 teams knocked out, so we'll have 16 amateur or former professional players, a lot of guys, big personalities that I'm hoping
even the teams that make it through to stage 2 off relegation, they don't play any other matches that whole weekend.
That's a good point.
So we'll have a lot of guys.
We have 32 players we can kind of pick from to come in, talk on analysis, maybe guest cast a match or two. Should be a lot of fun. All right, well, let's take a look here at Fringe Uplink. When you see the red, blue circles there for spawns on the map, you know, for you, what side do you prefer to spawn on?
I like the blue side just for the fact that I think it's a little bit easier to dunk on the red portal, just because you wall run around grandmas and it's a pretty tight corner. Very tough for those defensive players to pick up the kills. But in terms of just getting overall spawn trapping going, I like pushing from red.
Okay. All right. Well, the blue spawn is going to be EnVyUs to kick things off. You're starting off with Slasher here. Is everyone pushing forward here, trying to vie for drone control? And let's see who can get the early break. A lot of times you get a 3 down, and it turns into quick points.
Aches blows up a car and trades kills with accuracy. It's going to be Slasher now putting some shots into the play over near L-Wall.
Oh, that player's crazy.
3 go down shortly for CLG. Slasher immediately with the drone, and he's going to be pushing this pretty far forward. Now, there is a toss you could hit from the L-Wall, but it looks like he's just going to come around the back, and just like that, and we go up 1-0. Yeah,
the break is huge, especially, I mean, in low-scoring games. I think this one may be on the higher end of things, but a lot of times a quick break leads to a 1-point toss or a dunk, and you saw Envy taking advantage of that early on.
JCap is being so annoying right now. They just haven't killed him off of Globe. He's 3-0 from here.
Well, the problem is, where is he spawning them? Because it's a bloodbath by drone. He has to rotate
and that's
back.
All that,
that's going to give up a dunk. I didn't see, did you see where they spawned because of his position is the question.
CLG were spawning over near Auto.
They were near Auto? Okay, so not really on him, and he has teammates to win some gunfights at drone. Because some maps, you think about Breach or something, you push up a little too much, you can give them a spawn very, very close to the drone. But end result ends up being a dunk here for CLG after the early score from Envy. They've got a 1-point advantage right now. They're looking to close out the series.
Yeah, CLG continuing to push forward. They've gotten the lead off of that dunk. Surprised they didn't go for the over the barn 1-point toss. Instead, it's going to be Felony trying to smack the air, but he gets cleaned up from the back. Now it's all up to accuracy as he falls. This will give Envy some control near that neutral drone area, but Aches has won it. What's going on with Aches this entire series? It just seems like he's underperforming.
I don't know. Yeah, because it's been, you're right, like real slow starts in each game. And it could be multiple things. You know, the team has to change their play style and roles a little bit when switching from Havoc back to Aches. Aches may not have got as much practice in scrim time with his team over those couple of weeks as well, but I'm not sure. You think with the experience that this guy's got, he's able to just hop back and get in the swing of things pretty quickly here. But it's I mean, it's getting to the point that it's too late. I mean, they're down 2-0.
I mean, fortunately, like, they're only down by 1 point. So I guess in this map, there's still a lot of time for them to come back. But
in the series, you know,
yeah, this entire, I mean, the Hardpoint, he starts off like 3 and 14, was
something
it?
Like that, yeah.
Then in the Surge, he picks up 2 kills the entire map. It's just not really what you expect from a player.
Come on,
caliber
Patrick,
like
step it up, get a map on the board here. Or will CLG be able to close things out? Trying to cut down too is TP there at tracks. Aches has to rotate over as he gets the call out that multiple are coming. He connects with one.
There we go.
That's going to back them up for the time being, but there's going to be more pressure coming here as you take a look at the minimap.
He's got a lot of position to work with. The drone gets reset due to time. Going along the wall run, some solid shots. Picks up the kill on the Felony, and there we go, Aches.
He heard me. He heard me, even though I'm pretty sure we're on a delay and he technically couldn't have it. And he's probably not watching the stream for sure, but trying to find another out. He's still alive. What is that kill? Can't even see the player on his screen, really, with the warning popping up, but he is going to pick them all up, and now he's set up where JCap was earlier with position there by Globe, but if they can't get it forward, is he forcing them all the way? Okay, now they're spawning back by tracks. He's trying to take a look at his control here. The spawn, he went top Grandma's and ultimately going to end up dropping.
Yeah, I think they kind of wanted Aches to be inside the window or in a position to get inside Grandma's with the drone, but that toss a little too short. He's forced to push forward. That gives the angle for CLG to take him out. As Envy, they put on some good aggression onto the CLG team. And past couple of minutes as TP, he's in good position to get the dunk. As Envy, they're going to retake the lead with that. TP now has kinetic armor to use. He's going to find a couple players rotating back. Kinetic armor does get popped as he picks the kill up on Felony.
Let's watch TP for the time being. Is he was the one in the most aggressive position, but the problem is the drone's coming forward here, and accuracy clears out too. That is going to be a dunk for Methods. We can shift right back to TP because TP, I think, in a good spot. Nope,
he's dead.
He dropped right at that moment. I don't think they're at risk of getting pushed right now.
But take a look at JCap. He pushes out Auto. This will give CLG some good spawns for the time being, but Envy, they just pass this drone forward as JCap. He might settle for a 1-point toss here, yep. And just like that, Envy tied the game up. JCap looking to continue some slang over near the CLG base, 2 fall. And both Envy players are a bit out of position. Look at where they're spawning. They're not in the best spot to rotate back and defend their portal.
Well, they're trying to fight over now through Z. Accuracy and Felony picking up a couple.
Oh, that's 3.
TP going to drop as well. This has to be a point on the board, but because of Slasher's position, he was able to pick up one. Can't pick up another. The drone snuck through. He got the back. Who's this last player here? It's Felony.
He pops his kinetic armor, but nobody pushed up from CLG. Continuing to do some slaying is Felony. He's got a couple of more players to get past. The heat wave comes in as Aches
nice heat
cleans them
nice
up.
Heat wave.
Yep, but 10 seconds remaining. Let's see if Envy could finish off the first half with a lead. He might be able to get at least a 1-point toss in, maybe even a dunk.
Oh, get across. getting across. There should be the dunk. Nice stuff by Aches. He saves the 1-point toss, potentially by hitting that heat wave, gives himself an easier gunfight, and then flies down, able to fire through the dunk. And Slasher was a big part of why this happened.
Yeah,
he had been so pushed up. Well, yeah, he stopped the score potentially by slowing them down, then also just went straight forward, got set up here with cover, and shut down 2 on the way to Aches getting that dunk.
Yeah, big time play from Slasher keeps Envy in the game. In fact, it gives them a lead here. Slasher 18 and 12. He's also got some streaks 50 points away from. If he has an EMP class out, I say you take out an EMP, you just throw it a little bit off the break and allow yourself to get some EMP assists. Instead, he's just going to go right for the challenge here. Being aggressive right through the middle of the map. Okay, he don't need no EMPs. He's putting shots into 2 CLG players. He might decide to use a streak here to guarantee himself the Cerberus, as it looks like he's just waiting for somebody on CLG to be bold enough to challenge him.
He just needs some help here, man. He's tagged up several players. He's so close to getting the Cerberus. He's finally going to challenge it. A big kill from Accuracy there to at least ensure the Cerberus is not going to be coming out. But he does have the Lightning and the Hellstorm to potentially work with. Does he use it here to shut down this potential push? Is that back off the wall? He did use it, so he decided to use the Hellstorm.
That was a terrible throw for Methods.
But that got forced because of the Hellstorm, right?
Yeah.
He was thinking dunk, dunk, dunk. That gets called in, though, and that shuts it down.
So there is a toss you could hit from the mid L wall position. It's a bit tougher. You need to put some arc on it, but I think that's one. If you could consistently hit that 1-point toss, you could just get so many kind of free points for your team. Because how often do you see the drone carrier uncontested able to get towards L wall? It's when they start to push forward towards the enemy portal that it starts to get a bit tougher. But if you're able to just hit that shot from the L wall, I can only imagine how many 1-point shots or 1-pointers you'd be able to put in on them.
I mean, that's just a matter of holding mid-map, and you can really get control. This might be a dunk.
Nice.
1-point toss, probably the safe call there, as you see Slasher taking him out almost immediately. 3.5 here to go on the second side of Game 3. You can see there if you ever are questioning, maybe you tune in late, aren't sure what the score is in a best of 5.
You'll
see at the top left,
2-0
CLG.
And that's 4 down for Envy. This is a great position for CLG to take the lead, but no one has picked up the drone.
Who popped up the side for that Accuracy?
Yeah.
So Accuracy is going to be one here that could go nuts and pick up several kills too. Trying to get 3.
Lightning strike comes in.
Slasher's Lightning might save 2 scores. Well, the Hellstorm saved 1. The Lightning then saved a second. This would be a CLG lead right now if it wasn't for the streaks from Slasher.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But it's still only a 1-point lead for Envy. The most fragile lead you really could have. As Slasher, he's going to maintain control of the neutral drone, relying on his teammates to get some slaying done. Looks like he's just waiting for TP to push through middle map as he rotates over. That's 2 down for Envy. He's going for the over the barn toss. And
I think Cat busted out his scythe there too and got destroyed from a player with an M8 in the back. If he picks up a couple kills like Accuracy did, there's no streaks from CLG to stop that.
Accuracy's 29 and 15, by the way.
Accuracy having a monster game. Monster game. You see why they wanted to pick him up. Drone's in the back of Method's base. I get rid of this darn thing. I think he's just waiting maybe for his players to fight out for drone spawn a little bit here. Otherwise, it's basically just a handoff. And now you lose in a real risky position, and that's 3 down. They've got to get forward. Slasher should be the one with the drone. This is going to be a guaranteed 1-point toss, maybe even a dunk. Yeah, this should be a dunk. They're all spawning by barn here. Yep, there's the dunk. 3-point advantage, 2 minutes. I get why you want to wait a second before resetting it, because you don't want to just, it's basically a handoff. They have mid control, but you can't die there in your back alley.
Yeah, I thought he was going to wait for Envy to push up and then toss it off. Maybe cause them to lose a little bit of map control in the process, or wait for his teammates to give him some protection, but they just all died. He didn't toss it off. Now, Kinetic Armor gets popped by Felony. He finds one. That's 2 down for Envy as he's looking to slay near middle map, finding one more player. Methods helps him out with TP, but they need to start moving this drone forward. There still is time for them to win this game. They got Methods pushed up. He's got the lane pushed out. Can Felony get around the corner? He cannot, but Methods, he's got the Tempest out. He doesn't want to pick up the drone.
He doesn't, but if he can pick up some big kills here, that might chain actually.
Go.
Did end up chaining in the back. I think he picked up a second, and there's the dunk. So the Tempest coming to life there as he picks up a couple of kills, allows his team some spot. There's 2 coming through 10, and this might be another dunk. They got it forward. They're flushing it through. All of a sudden, the 3-point lead from Envy evaporates in the span of 15 seconds.
Yeah, off the back of a Tempest, along with Accuracy putting in some kills. Great positioning for Perplex to put more pressure onto the Envy players coming off of respawn. Slasher's having a great game, by the way. He's 30 and 19, but right now his team Envy, they find themselves down by 1 point. JCap now with control of the neutral drone. Envy, they're going to try to push forward, but they have nobody pushed up ahead of time through the lane.
This is, I don't want to say their last opportunity here, but this push, they need to get 1 point, especially with how slow this is developing. They need to win a few gunfights, and they're doing that. TP and Slasher coming in, Felony answering back, but here comes probably potentially their last effort as he's getting cut down. If they can reset this drone, you're feeling pretty good if you're CLG. It's still in a dangerous position.
I think you run it back for time now.
Oh, where's he going? He's running all the way back and just try to hide. Yeah, just try to hide.
Run it back for time, that guarantees.
Don't take it back, alley.
No, I think you actually run on the bridge and use that way back truck as some cover, and you can just jump off the map.
Oh, no, he didn't get it off again.
Why?
He didn't get it off again. Don't lose it in this crazy position here. Is there anyone there that might be able to make a play? Felony's got it now.
Just jump off the map. That's all you need to do, and you win.
They got it. My God, what a crazy finish there. That's something we're going to need to highlight. The 4 dunks that come in, really, from CLG.
Just a great series of plays from CLG in the final moments of that game. I mean, good decision-making, good execution with the Tempest as they complete the 3-0 over Team EnVyUs.
I mean, you're feeling good if you're Envy. You've got a 3-point lead, right? There's, I mean, a couple minutes on the clock, but you got a 3-point lead. You've controlled this second half for the most part, and then the blink of an eye. Now, you said you like the one side for 1-point tosses. You like the other side for control. That side a little bit more difficult when pushing towards Grandma to lock it down like that. CLG did it for the span of 30 seconds. That's all they needed, man. Those 2 dunks were huge there. Excellent stuff.
The one thing that's working against you when you're in Envy and you're spawning there, you saw as they were running out through tin, that's such a narrow area, and Perplex was able to get 2 in the span of that whole series of plays. And then, you know, what do you do if you don't rotate back? You have to overextend. You got to go through bricks and try to contest for mid-map control. But when the team already has their setup, they can just pass it forward, and then there's nothing you could do after.
Well, that spot is so huge in CTF and in Uplink. You know, we watched it yesterday. We were casting, and in CTF, when they're trying to overextend, that's that alley. So if you can win those gunfights, they're typically... I mean, they're pretty easy in the fact that you're L-triggered looking at that corner, but that can be the difference there. He doesn't pick up those 2 kills. That second dunk does not come through, and CLG likely ends up losing that. So nice performance there. Was that Felony Perplex that hold that off?
That was Perplex.
Perplex, so excellent stuff there. And
then we take a look at the scoreboard. Not only did Accuracy lead his team as Slang, he's got 3 carries, 1 throw as well. And then on the Envy side, what went up with them today? I mean, their slaying was just lackluster. Slasher, the only person going positive. Some rough stuff from that Envy lineup as we take a look at some of the highlights from that final game.
Yeah, you said it. Some rough stuff. It just was not pretty from Envy, and they've just been falling apart over the past couple of weeks, but that's the... I like the idea to try and maybe switch the roster up, see if you can tweak some stuff, try to get a different bit, but... Well, it definitely doesn't help when you end up switching right back, right? Yeah. When you go right back to the other player. Especially if there is some dissension among the troops a little bit. Maybe that's what's showing, just poor communication from these guys. But they only have a couple weeks here to turn it around.
These are the same concerns you had about this Envy lineup going into the LAN qualifiers. Then what happened when they showed up to LAN? They dominated. Yeah. So it might just be a similar scenario to that, but I think we could all agree they need to work on their stuff. They need to go back to the drawing board. Here's that series of plays. You know, the Tempest chains on to TP there at the end. And then they get 2 dunks on the back of that play as CLG, they sweep Envy, a perfect 3-0 for them.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if we've got it updated yet, but I'll try to call for the standings here a fair amount throughout the course of the day today, just to kind of show you the map win percentage, show you where people are in the standings so you can get a really good idea of that line there for the relegation zone. But the next matchup that we're going to be having today is what's going to be TSM versus FaZe. So last time they played, it went to a Game 5. Yeah. We had that incredible 6 streak, I think, in the Game 5 to get them the W, and it's almost a must-win. So let's look at this now. So CLG keeps themselves alive with that victory, and the one thing they have that looks good, in fact, they got a 3-0 here. Look at that map win percentage compared to everyone else in the relegation zone, and even compared to someone like TSM. They might be able to...
H2K, too.
They could catch LG. They have a little bit of a lead on H2K.
They just need to win out. If they win out, they could get, was it to... 8 wins, I think.
They get to 8 wins, so they would need, I think
they need everyone else to lose.
H2K, like TSM, they can't win another map. So if TSM wins here, that might be curtains for CLG. I need to break it all down. And during our breaks today, I'm just going to kind of look at it all and see how it all falls together. But FaZe, TSM, that is the next match here on the primary stream. Guys, quick 5-minute break, and we'll be right back.